Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by the fans for the fans. And thank you. You are joining us for episode 63. I am your host, the grumpy old school wrestling fan, collector, barber, and musician. Talk wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
Should add voiceover to that. I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Funko Pop collector, Steelers fan. Yes, we won this weekend. Andy.
And I'm also your host, the no-selling wrestling indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
USA doing good?
USA just lost to the Netherlands.
They're
out of the World Cup.
Oh, okay.
Andy loves foosball. So, yeah, Jeremy is back this week. Happy to have you, buddy. So that way Andy and I don't have to bicker for an entire episode. So, this is episode 63. In this episode, we will be discussing Becky Lynch and Damage Control, MJF and William Regal, and William Regal's current relationship and status with AEW in general. We're going to be chatting it up about Sami Zayn and more. And okay, here we go, guys. Ready? Long-winded social media segment. Are you ready? No, I said, are you okay? Yeah, please go to YouTube and search the PW Fan, where you'll find all of our episodes this year, last year, video, non-video. And please subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers so I can stop doing that stupid intro. We got merch on ProWrestlingTees.com/the PW Fan. 3 shirt designs, year 1 and 2 pocket logo tees. And we got our basic front graphic tee. And coming soon, I'm talking to the artists right now about it. We're getting things in the work. Booker Andy pocket logo tee.
Booker
right,
Andy.
Let me give you guys a little preview of what this thing's going to look like. Black t-shirt. Front left chest, it's going to say, The Architect. Fuck yeah. It's going to look awesome. And then on the back, like a 3-patch biker jacket, the top's going to say, Booker Andy, and then it's going to be an American traditional tattoo hand holding a pen, and then underneath it's going to say, Give me the pen. I'm telling you, this shirt's going to be maybe one of our coolest.
Really cool.
It's going to be cool. And then we're going to get Jeremy a shirt, and I'm not worried about me. Who cares about me? All right. And for all other social media, look us up at the PW Fan, and we should pop right up. Andy, I'm going to pass it over to you. I'm excited for this week. I'm pumped up. Jeremy's back. And I want to say something real quick before we get started on today's show. I kind of always joke around. I'm almost never super serious on this show, but I do want to say this. We got our Spotify Wrapped numbers in, and we actually, for numbers and listeners, we do better on Apple Podcasts, which is very cool. So if you're an Apple Podcast listener, thank you very much. But as far as Spotify goes, we got numbers back that kind of let us know how everything's been doing. And we can't come to find out. And when I say this, I don't mean just in pro wrestling. I mean in podcasting in general. We were in the 30th percent most shared podcasts on the entire planet. So that's pretty crazy. You know, we always joke on this show saying, guys, please tell your friends about us and all that stuff. And you all actually have. So that's really so cool. And we appreciate everybody that comes back every week. This is our little family. Happy to have our listeners. And I just want to personally, and I know Andy and Jeremy feel the same. If they want to say anything, feel free. But thank you all so much. That was pretty shocking to see that in the entire world, you guys have shared us, so we were in the 30th on the planet. So that's very generous, and thank you for doing that. So thank you all so much, and we can continue on, but I really just wanted to make a point of saying that.
No, yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's really cool because I look at the numbers every single week, and it's cool to see that it's not just the U.S., but there's a lot of other people that listen, so thank you to everyone.
And one thing that we don't talk about enough is, if you're a newer listener catching up to this one, come to find out what we're finding from some of our, statistical analysis is a lot of our listeners will go back and listen to older episodes first and then kind of decide if they like the show and then catch up.
Oh,
and
don't start it. Don't start at the first.
Yeah, don't start at the first. You can skip that one. But
You don't like the first one?
The pilot, I can't listen
While
to it.
we were giving matches stars and
Oh yeah, Tim was in a star rating and all that.
yeah,
but yeah, people went back and do that. So if you're catching up with newer stuff now, we're noticing. I don't know if you'll hear this, in a few weeks from now or whatever. So thank you all so much. It's very cool. You're the reason why we do the show. Obviously, we have fun doing it, and we started it to do it for fun. But then all of a sudden, people started listening, and we've gotten heartfelt messages, and people have, come to us with stuff, and we just appreciate you all so much. So thank you, and Andy, I'll let you take it from here, buddy. We can get into some wrestling. RASSLIN. That's wrestling. Let's go.
all right. So we'll start with Raw as usual. Becky Lynch opened up the show, and this is the first time she's been able to talk to the audience since she's been back. Damage Control comes out, and Bayley starts talking shit with her. Becky Lynch ends up going into the crowd and talking to fans, and I'm sure that made their entire year. They got on TV. I think one's name was like Bobby and the other was like Zach or something. But
It's pretty cool.
what ends up happening is that she ends up taking on all three members of Damage Control and brawls with them in the arena out into the concession stand. It was a fun segment. I feel like you don't see it that often anymore in WWE. We used to see it a lot in AEW. I felt like almost too much. So this is the first time
They
in
did
a
the Dippin'
while.
Dots thing.
Yeah. So the way this is headed, I mean, it kind of looks like Bayley is going to be feuding with Becky Lynch, but we'll have to see.
It's going to be a good feud.
Yeah. So then after that, we had Mia Yim versus Rhea Ripley, which eventually turned into the Judgment Day versus the OC. During Mia and Rhea's match, the OC came out and said that this feud wasn't over, but it was going to end tonight. So they had a 4-on-4 mixed tag match. Winners ended up being the Judgment Day. It was a really good match. It should have almost been on the pay-per-view if they wanted to get all members on, but
How much
the match with
longer?
AJ and Finn was good as well.
How much longer do you think this feud between these two factions and this thing in general is going to go on for? Is this something that you think will go all the way to like the Rumble, or like are we going to see it fade out soon?
I think so.
I don't know. I mean, see, like as we're watching Raw tonight, I'm wondering, if they're going to do something, we'll see something tonight. If we don't see anything tonight, I'd assume that it's over with. Because they finally did the entire group against the entire group. Are they going to make us see the match again?
Yeah, I mean, it might be
the
one of
first
those.
time.
It might be one of those things where it's like it's over for now, but is it ever really over? It's not. It's never over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first time we had the entire group, all male members and all female members against one another at the same time. I don't know what more you can do with that. You had the leaders against one another at the pay-per-view, and then you had the entire group the next or 2 nights later.
Yeah.
So
I mean, because I feel like what they used to do, I guess WWE would continue this feud and have them fight the same thing over and over again. But I feel like Triple H does those, obviously different things. But I don't know. It could be like I don't know, it's a gimmick match or something.
yeah, I mean that'd be the only way. But what the next pay-per-view is it Royal Rumble or is there one before it? It used to be day one, right?
Yeah. There's one before. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe they'll do something different. I don't know. I haven't seen an advertisement for the next pay-per-view, so
Yeah.
I think it's still a little bit too early. But moving forward, we had the Bloodline come out, and it really was just a celebration for Sami Zayn. All Bloodline members. Roman wasn't out there, but the Bloodline is all about Sami now. KO, Kevin Owens ended up coming out and basically said he understands why Sami Zayn, did what he did, that he would have done the same thing, and that he's basically done with Sami. He says he doesn't want to fight him or team with him anymore. He just is done with him and wants nothing to do with him. As we saw tonight, though, that, Kevin Owens is going to be tied in some kind of storyline to
There's going to
Bloodline
be
moving forward.
some point when they turn on Sammy.
It's
I'm
going to
telling you,
happen.
man. Elimination Chamber is in Montreal, and the Bloodline will get
Sammy
booked,
turns on them first.
or that, and someone comes out to save someone, and then they become superheroes in Montreal.
Maybe they win the tag titles. I don't know.
And then that leads to Mania, and you have KO and Sammy take the belt.
Yeah.
Booker Andy get the new shirt.
Booker Andy, go get that freaking new shirt when it comes out. I'm telling you, this
Kevin
man,
Owens is-
Andy's bowling strikes for the last year. If you go back in our episode history, he's in the 90% of getting things right.
If I could bet on WWE, I would. I'm sure there's a way.
You can.
I ain't got the money
Don't
right
do
now.
that. God damn it. You're going to wind up getting addicted to that, just like you are Funko Pops.
I'll be like, I'm right all the time, and then I'm finally wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Well,
always
you're the
right.
fault. You're the reason for the Funko Pops. I was fine before you got me started.
Clearly, I have a problem, too. Look behind me. It's a sickness. Look at this shit.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
I can't stop.
But Kevin Owens said he wasn't done. I believe it was this week, right? He said he wasn't finished with Jey Uso though, so because Jey Uso was the one that cost him the title against Roman Reigns during the pandemic, so that became booked for the main event. After that, we had Austin Theory in the ring, celebrating, him being the new United States champion from War Games. Seth Rollins ended up coming out. Theory has been pissed that, the older wrestlers, like he mentions Dolph and Rollins, have called him kid. And Seth Rollins, congratulates him, but then whispers, to him, like, congratulations, kid. And so I don't know if this feud is done or not, but
It doesn't seem that way.
no, it does not. So Dexter Lumis and The Miz finally had their match to see if Dexter Lumis would get a contract. Hopefully this is finished. Dexter Lumis did beat The Miz and sign the contract. Now, I read that I think he's going back to NXT, though. So I don't know what the point of bringing him up to Raw was. I don't know if it was to do something with Johnny Gargano. I don't know.
That's insane. That was like a 3-month storyline.
I just saw a video of a house show, and he was in the corner with Indy Hartwell. Like, he was...
That'd be ridiculous if he goes down to NXT right after this.
I really think he is. Okay. Candice LeRae returned to television to take on Dakota Kai, who Damage Control had injured her. I don't know if she was actually injured or if it was just storyline-wise, but she returned to television. And then lastly, the main event was Kevin Owens versus Jey Uso. Winner was Jey Uso. Very good main event.
It's really good.
Yeah, I would like to see Kevin Owens wins, but again, I think this is that long-term storyline he's going to be involved with. As we saw the opening match tonight, which we'll talk about next week, he'll be involved with the Bloodline. That's all I got for Raw. Do you have anything to add before I move on to Dynamite?
I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, I did as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
So let's get into Dynamite. Jon Moxley opens up the show and, basically says that even though he's not champion, he is still at the top of the food chain and no one backstage can tell him otherwise. Out comes Hangman Adam Page to tell him otherwise.
Which I forgot the last time that we saw a Hangman, he was knocked out.
Because of Moxley.
And totally
Moxley ends up making a comment about, or like he says something and he's like, or do you not remember, or something like that.
Yeah.
And they start brawling a little bit too many pull aparts, in my opinion. I hate too many.
You have to do like at least the max. For me, it's like 3.
I think one security guard pulled Moxley off, and Moxley fell off the stage, and that security guard dipped. He was out there.
Because he's definitely getting fired.
He's just an extra, probably too, right?
He was like, and I'm out.
Well, yeah. So it looks like that feud is continuing. I don't know if it was ever supposed to be a feud, but I think they
used it.
What happened? Yeah, they just use it, and sometimes those are the best feuds. We had what should have been to some a dream match. It was Bryan Danielson versus Dax Harwood.
Yeah.
Good match. Bryan Danielson tapped him out in the end. Dax.
I thought that was the right decision.
I do as well. Dax started walking away after Bryan stuck out his hand and acted like he wasn't going to shake it, but did a quick turnaround and shook his hand. It was a very good match. Both guys are just similar but different styles. It's kind of both are like old school. They're not like
Yeah, I was going to say, Tim, I feel like this was probably one of your favorite matches for this show.
Out of all the matches on the show, I'd say it would be
100%. This is exactly up my alley of what I like. So I was in. Jeremy, that was a good call, buddy. You know my taste.
It's kind of like I think you felt the same way when it was CM Punk versus Dax Harwood. Right?
Yeah.
That match happened, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
that
that.
one. Was
I did love that match.
Perfect old school wrestling.
Moving forward, Ricky Starks enters himself into the Dynamite Ring Battle Royal, even though he already has a number one contenders match to MJF. He says he's coming for everything that MJF has, which includes that Dynamite Ring.
Guess that makes sense. I don't know.
Because I guess the way they do now, because MJF has won it back to back, the winner of the Battle Royal doesn't win the ring; they win a chance at the ring now.
Yeah, MJF won it 3 times in a row.
Yes. Wardlow versus Samoa Joe isn't over. He challenged him to the TNT title at Final Battle. Someone else I didn't write down ended up challenging Samoa Joe to Final Battle for the ROH television title.
Yeah, I forget who that is now too.
Yeah, I forget who it is. But so it looks like Joe's going to be defending it twice.
By the way, speaking of that, speaking of Joe, I was going to order the Final Battle pay-per-view later tonight just out of boredom. Worth it or no? Has anybody heard anything? It's $40.
Is it tonight?
It already happened it happened on Saturday. And all the comments are saying it's kind of garbage. So I'm thinking about Andy, just send me the link. You know what I mean?
Oh, Juice Robinson.
Juice Robinson, that's who it is, yeah.
Juice Robinson from New Japan is the one that
yeah, I mean, I haven't heard crazy things about it, so I don't.
People keep just saying this is just. People keep saying this is just AEW wearing an ROH outfit, and I'm like, I'm like, you're not wrong.
I feel like it. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what the matches are. Let's see. Final Battle. It is Chris Jericho versus Claudio for the ROH World Title.
Ocho.
Daniel Garcia versus Wheeler Yuta for the Pure Championship. Mercedes Martinez versus Athena for the ROH Women's Championship. Samoa Joe versus Juice Robinson. I guess the Wardlow match wasn't for Ring of Honor. That makes sense. It's not a ROH title. And then Swerve and Keith Lee versus Shane Taylor and JT Griffey. Don't know who that is. Sorry.
Well, maybe I'll watch the free version.
So, yeah. Well, the next thing I was going to say was during an interview between Blackpool Combat Club and Jericho Appreciation Society, Wheeler Yuta challenged Daniel Garcia to match for the ROH Pure Championship at Final Battle. Yep. So, ties together perfectly. So, let's talk about this MJF and William Regal segment. There was one little thing I didn't like about it, but so let's get into it. MJF ended up, or William Regal, ended up coming out and introducing MJF. He introduced his, reign of terror that's, about to come down to all the superstars up until 2024 because he's never going to give up the title and he'll either leave AEW with it or he'll stay. Again, they mentioned WWE on TV. They mentioned his old buddy Saint Nick Khan, and he said, "And my pal Trips is what he said." Trips. He says Trips. Yeah, so you remind your fans about the bidding war of 2024. And then, the one thing that we didn't hear from William Regal, and I've heard other people talk about this, is that we didn't hear why Regal turned on the Blackpool Combat Club. Yeah. MJF talked about, he read the email that William Regal sent him, and that was more telling us why MJF went with Regal, but we didn't say why Regal went with MJF. Yeah. So that's neither here nor there. In the end, I keep saying in the end, MJF took the brass knucks out and knocked out William Regal from behind. Now, as Tim mentioned, we're going to talk about the status of William Regal and his future.
He knocked out Regal from the ring and also AEW. That was like his last show.
Yeah, he knocked him out.
Yeah, there's some things just about this whole thing where I'm just like, I don't know what to believe.
All signs point that he's going to WWE, right?
That's obvious. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, EC3
I read that he's
saying that there was a maturity issue and Jeremy, you read more of that than I did.
Yeah, I don't get any of that. Also, because EC3 saying it, and also he was like, "I heard," and I'm like, "Okay, well, it's immediately false."
I
heard something.
EC3 heard that William Regal thought that as soon as he got there was a maturity difference in the management at AEW versus WWE. That was the story.
I don't think that's exactly true. There's a difference in management style, definitely, but I don't think Regal wouldn't have signed to an actual company if he didn't think it was worth it.
So he signed to 3 years, but there's a clause in there apparently that he could leave whenever.
Yeah,
it's a perfect way to write him off. Triple H is in charge. Him and Triple H are buds. Obviously, he put him as the general manager of NXT.
Yeah, and
if he just likes working for WWE more, whether AEW is bad or good, he just might like that company more and the people that he works for, and he likes working for Triple H or something more than maybe Tony Khan.
Yeah, and it's like the whole point is just be happy for Regal because he first of all he got fired and found another job, which is great, and now he's going back to the place that he likes, and also Triple H's guys in charge.
Yeah, at least his talent didn't go to waste, and his mind is another big thing,
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw the other thing about with Regal, they said the young talent or whatever didn't want to listen to his advice. I was like, I don't know. Yeah, and I was like, I don't know if they did him and Danielson do apparently training sessions.
Oh no, that's kind of the thing that CM Punk mentioned that Hangman Page said.
Yeah, well, maybe that's Hangman. Hangman's like, I don't need anything. I'm good.
But
Hangman's a bitch.
The fans were cheering that he knocked out this old man. Kind of like, William, and because then MJF, basically said what Regal had said to him 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He said, top talent, he's looking for top talent and to let him know when he's that, basically.
Yeah. Good point. Another, just perspective, I guess, I read also, is that if you look at the AEW, the top people, it's sort of like the Young Bucks, maybe Kenny Omega a little bit, and some of the other top stars like Hangman, they all made it there on them, themselves. They didn't learn or they didn't get help from anyone, as in old wrestlers or anything like that. So I can get that idea of thinking of I'm not going to start listening now, but also there's that little balance of you should listen to at least their advice
or try it out, and if it doesn't work, then fuck it.
Right.
I mean, Kenny was in FCW or NXT or whatever for a short bit.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
he didn't make it through their developmental program, is what Cody Rhodes said during their feud.
That's right.
Back in ROH. So we had a return this week on Dynamite. After Anna Jay's match, Ty Mello was out there, and Ruby Soho's music hits. And if you remember, I believe it was Ty Mello that injured Ruby twice, I think, during that same match. I think she broke her nose, though, was the injury that put her out. She had to have reconstructive surgery. So Ruby Soho came back and attacked Ty. Yeah, you almost forgot about it, right?
Yeah. That was the match where they like dropped her, right?
Yeah. Dropped her and then broke her nose. I think it was that All Out. Now, ROH is getting a TV show, I believe, which is good because some of these wrestlers, like Ruby Soho, that you just forgot was even injured because she hasn't been on TV, people can, get seen.
Is it a TV deal like on TV or like on streaming?
I believe it's on TV, but
okay.
I'm like 75%.
I don't know what's better for ROH now. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, are we going to be, if you go to a live AEW show, or are they going to be taping like ROH?
That's going to be like 6-hour shows.
I'll be like, dude, we're going to get like almost through Dynamite. I'll be like, I can just watch it later.
Yeah. Like, we got another 4 hours of ROH and dark.
We had a Jade Cargill TBS Championship win celebration, and then Lil Bow Wow popped on the screen. Why is Jade Cargill in some feud/war with Lil Bow Wow?
I don't really understand where it came from. Like, because 2 weeks ago they showed like the incident.
Her at his tour.
Yeah.
He's like, oh damn, you really are fine in person. Like, and then
Lil Bow Wow loves wrestling, and he even was like talking shit on like Twitter, like a year ago, being like, I could book better shit than this or something like that. I remember like, and then I remember like people at the time were like, you were probably right, he probably could. It was terrible as far as WWE was going.
Tony Khan's like, Trips has Logan Paul, let's get Lil Bow Wow.
Yeah. Just trying something else.
Same, right?
Lil Bow Wow.
Also, Bow Wow hasn't been relevant.
Like Mike,
he hasn't been relevant in a long time.
The main event of the show was Death Triangle versus the Elite Best of 7 series. This would be their third match, and the winners this time around were the Elite. So the score is now 2-1. They are not going to get shut out. I think we all know they're all going to just come back and just dominate basically, and then get the belts back.
But at least I thought it was going to go like 3-0, as in like.
And then 4 in a row?
Yeah, and then 4 in a row, and I was going to be like, are you kidding me?
This is what's going to happen. It's going to come. They're both going to tie at 3 eventually, and then it's going to be the Elite.
It's honestly going to go 7.
They're going to milk it. They're going to be like, just more booking, like easily.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of like the difference. Like this last match was more like a street fight because they started it before the match, and they kind of did a bunch of things. So at least they're trying to like switch it up, so it's not kind of the same match every time.
Just like the crowd was chanting same old shit in Chicago.
That Chicago crowd was crazy.
Yeah. But that wrapped up Dynamite. Let's get into Smackdown. The Bloodline, as per usual lately, opened up the show. And see, I'm looking at my notes. Sorry, guys.
Right.
It just led to it led to a match between Sami Zayn and Sheamus. In the end, though, Sami Zayn ended up winning the match, which as high as Sami Zayn is right now, is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
He's on.
Also, doesn't really hurt Sheamus that much at all.
No, not at all. Banger after banger after banger. There was a funny moment this week. He was walking backstage after beating up Jimmy and Jay, and he walks away just saying, you just see the back of his head, he's just going banger after banger after banger. So after that, so the Bloodline opened up the show to celebrate Sami. When they opened up Raw, it was when they were on Raw, it was to celebrate the Survivor Series win. This week, it was to celebrate Sami. And then we had Sheamus versus Sami, which led right into it. Then we had Bray Wyatt backstage for a quick segment, still denying that he attacked LA Knight. Last week on the show, I played that clip. Jeremy, I don't know if you ended up hearing the full thing later. On YouTube.
The Bray clip.
Well, because it's longer. I only played like maybe 30 seconds of it. It's like a psychiatric phone call is what it is.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So I still am thinking that it's the 6 personalities based off that phone call especially. Yeah. And maybe this personality of Bray isn't the one that...
Yeah, because also Bray saying that wasn't me. Like...
Maybe it was Uncle Howdy, but Uncle Howdy is Bray. I don't know.
I didn't do those things.
I think it was during Raw. I didn't write this down. Forgot to mention it, but it has to do with Bray. During a segment backstage with the ladies, Alexa Bliss was kind of zoned out, and it was kind of, I think, something with Bray flashed on the screen again, and I don't know. It was making it seem like, insinuating that she was like thinking about Bray Wyatt or like kind of going crazy again. So I don't know if they're going to ease back into that.
She doesn't really have too much else
going on right now. No.
Yeah, and also character-wise.
No. Just don't bring back Lily the dog. Not the dog, because that is my dog. I do have a dog named Lily, but Oscar just watched on TV. Anyway, Lacey Evans. There was a video of her running in a United States Marine Corps outfit, and it was saying that she's going back to basics. As a lot of people know, she was a former Marine, and so maybe her character is changing yet again to be...
She just repackage after repackage.
It was an Army of One commercial, basically. Repackage after repackage after repackage. Damage Control cut a promo and basically putting the SmackDown Women's locker room on notice. Liv Morgan ends up coming out and attacking her the entire group. She says, she goes 1, 2, 3 against 1. Yeah, pretty good odds. And then runs in and attacks. Then we had a returning Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox used to be best friends with Dakota Kai in NXT, and during a War Games match, Dakota Kai turned on her. Tegan Nox, before she was let go, was brought up to the main roster with Shotzi as a tag team. If you don't remember her then, maybe you remember her from dressing like Captain Marvel all the time. She came back with like purple and lime, like highlighter hair. Almost looked like her eyebrows were shaved off. I don't know.
I didn't get that.
I don't know. She looked different. It could be the hair that just made her look different, but her face looked different too. So yes, Tegan Nox returned to help Liv. And then our main event, which was very good, I would go out of your way to watch it. Ricochet versus Santos Escobar, the SmackDown World Cup finals. Winner was Ricochet. Ricochet will now feud with Gunther, or at least have a match with Gunther next week. Or maybe, I think it's next week, actually, for the Intercontinental Championship. I think this is just a blow-off, though. It's just the match that not me, wants is Braun Strowman versus Gunther. I mean, he even came out during a match and interfered with Imperium.
Yeah, they're teasing it. But this Ricochet match, though, I feel like, remember when Triple H was in NXT doing all those like tournament-style matches? I feel like this was like kind of like the Cruiserweight tournament was insane that they did.
Santos Escobar. Oh, you mean the original Cruiserweight Championship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when they had that huge tournament, they brought in all the Cruiserweights. Like I feel like this kind of like was similar to that, where it's like the matches were just great.
Mustafa Ali versus Ricochet. You had I was gonna say Pete Dunne, Butch.
Yeah, and then just let the guys go for like whatever time like they had.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. So the very good main event. I like that they're actually doing main events now when like there's a good reason for it. Like this is the finals of the World Cup that they've been promoting. So that wrapped up SmackDown. Rampage. Two little things to talk about here. The Acclaim versus FTR is officially set for the future.
No, it's set for next Wednesday.
There's going to be no winner. Gun Club's going to get involved or something.
I hate that.
There's not going to be a winner. Because they should hold out till like Revolution or at least like Winter is coming or something. But
yeah, because there's like zero build for this.
Yeah, no, they could. I mean, both teams are popular. Both teams are baby faces though. Like, so like, how do you? I don't know. That's one thing Booker Andy can't do. I can't book two baby faces and do a good storyline. Sorry, guys.
Because that is like the top two teams that they have right now, and they need to face each other. But I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, the fans really want this, so see how they book it. And then lastly on Rampage, you had Orange Cassidy versus QT Marshall, All Atlantic Championship Lumberjack match. Danhausen cracked me up. He was dressed like a lumberjack and he had an axe. He's like, "Can we bring axes to the ring?" And Mark was like, "No." It's like, they all had flannels on. Winner was Orange Cassidy, but the takeaway from this is House of Black. Lights hit Black, and House of Black popped up and takes everyone out, including the Lumberjacks. Now, I saw something online, and I agree with it. If you're going to be doing the lights out every time House of Black comes out, you can't be doing it for anyone else or any like return or anything.
That was the thing even before they went away for a little bit that people were saying, because they would do it and everyone would like get excited about like some like surprise person.
People are going to be starting to get let down, thinking it's a new person, but then it's just like House of Black. I think that might have hurt them before when so many people were coming in while House of Black was a thing.
Yeah, because they did that so many times.
So,
but like House of Black's like cool. Like they should be like people. They pop the lights back on. People should pop for them because they're a really cool tag team.
Well, they did when they came back last week.
Yeah.
But, that wraps up Rampage. I do want to talk about one other thing before Tim gives us the classic show of the week.
Show of the week.
That's this WrestleMania card. All right. There's a lot of rumors out there of how they could book Roman versus The Rock. If The Rock is going to do it, it's all up to The Rock.
Yes, this is what I wanted to touch on.
Does The Rock come back at the Rumble and enter it, or does he just come back not in a match, and then his only match is at Mania? Do you have Cody win the Rumble and have... The big thing is, do you have Roman face The Rock night one and then Roman versus Cody night two, both for different championships? Cody wins one of the belts.
See, for me, like, I don't know. I think Tim has a different thing on this, but from what he texted us earlier.
Or does Rock win and stay for Backlash and then loses the belt the next pay-per-view?
Yeah, I was going to say, I like Rock night one winning, and then Cody night two winning as well. So then Roman doesn't have anything by the end of the WrestleMania.
Well, the Bloodline wouldn't have anything if Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens end up taking it.
And they have nothing by the end of WrestleMania. But then the only thing is like, it's like Rock needs to drop the title then. I don't know who beats him.
You mean... Well, that's what I'm saying. What if you have the rematch and Roman just gets back one title at Backlash from The Rock?
But I'd rather like have someone. I don't know. It's like I'd rather have someone else.
Well, I will say I saw on TikTok, Young Rock, the new episode that the show takes place in the future, and they went to this lady's house that's a big fan of The Rock and has all of his merchandise and belts that he's held. And one of the belts was the Blue Universal, and it just so happened to be sitting in front of a picture of The Rock where it would look like it's around his waist. Just saying. The show takes place in 2032.
So... and that's the beautiful thing about wrestling, Jeremy.
But they wouldn't have an outcome yet. I mean,
I feel like I know people are going to be like, "Oh, it's too predictable," but I'm like, this is how they've booked it. They're like years into this booking. I'm like, I feel like you have to just do it. Like, The Rock has to beat Roman at Mania. That's like the
you need someone believable because Roman's ran through everyone.
He's too big. He's in God mode or whatever. Personally, I would like to be Cody, and then Cody can win and be the mega ultra huge babyface of WWE. I just feel like for storyline purposes, it just makes a lot of sense to just do what we've all been expecting for years, which is The Rock.
I think you need two champions. Not Roman can't have two belts anymore.
And I also think that for the Rumble, Cody can come back, right, at that time?
I think that's the plan.
Yeah, I think Cody wins.
He's weightlifting again, you know.
Yeah.
He's back.
I feel like Cody can come back now anyways if he wants to.
Which is how he toured in the first place, but...
yeah. But I feel like Cody wins the Rumble, and then Rock will show up sometime closer to Mania and have the other title.
Yeah. So Rock only has one match instead of entering the Rumble and winning.
Yeah.
You have Cody enter the Rumble.
Because then Cody would win the Rumble
at some
Rock.
point on the way to road to WrestleMania. Also, you know, you have Stone Cold on the card, and then rumors of Logan Paul versus Cena. This could be a huge, huge Mania. I mean, it's
I thought you were about to say Logan Paul versus Stone Cold, and I was like, no.
No. Logan Paul called out Cena at some point, I think.
That's right, yeah.
Not on TV, but like on a podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you have all those guys, and who knows what Stone Cold's opponent will be? Some people are like CM Punk. It's not going to be fucking CM Punk. AEW's not.
He can't even wrestle anyways by then.
And you think if they're going to have Roman face The Rock and Cody Rhodes, that those aren't going to be the main events of both nights, and you think CM Punk isn't going to come back for the main event spot? You're crazy.
Maybe it could be Stone Cold versus like Sami or someone.
Yeah. But it is WrestleMania Hollywood. I don't see why Cena couldn't be there.
That's where he lives.
You know, and The Rock and against Stone Cold, and you have all these guys that are now on the roster that Triple H is pushing. Like, I'm super excited for. I don't even know what the matches are going to be, but I know what they could be. You
right?
know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm really excited. I know you all have probably seen stuff about Roman and The Rock and Cody Rhodes and how they could do it going around the internet probably. So I wanted to see your guys' opinion on that. But, Tim, that's...
I just have no idea where they're like realistically going to go with it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's one of those things that
We got, 3 months?
It could go either way.
3 months.
So I got my classic show of the week, but I also have like a classic match of the week. I recommend going and looking up Mick Foley versus Randy Orton, and that is I believe it's a Backlash. Is it, Andy?
It is. Yeah.
Is it 2000?
Because Edge and Mick Foley are at Mania, so that means Mick Foley and Randy Orton's at Backlash. It was after they had the Rock and Sock Connection versus
maybe it was
Evolution
Backlash 2005.
Whenever WrestleMania 20 was, it's the Backlash after that.
Yeah. And then my classic show of the week is Backlash 2003. And so some of these matches, Team Angle, Shelton Benjamin, and Charlie Haas versus Los Guerreros. And then Triple H, Ric Flair, and Chris Jericho against Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, and Booker T. And then Goldberg and The Rock is the main event. And it's Goldberg's first pay-per-view coming from WCW to WWE. So that's a fun kind of time warp. And I recommend
the Randy Orton match. It's a hardcore match for the Intercontinental Championship against Mick Foley. Backlash 04. So Tim says 03 for the full pay-per-view, and then for this one match, it's 04.
Yeah, you want to check out that Randy Orton.
This is when they were switching up between Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views. This is a Raw pay-per-view. Backlash 2003 is a SmackDown.
Yes, and those are my classic picks of the week. So do your homework, or the teacher will be upset.
Do you have Kurt Angle versus... Kurt Angle's on that pay-per-view, isn't he?
Yes.
03?
03. Hang on. He might have been injured during this time. Let me check. Yeah, I think he was out.
We got Benoit at 04.
Yeah, I think Angle was out. Oh, no. This might have been after No, it's after WrestleMania 19. So Brock had just...
Why is he on the front cover? Interesting.
Yeah, it is weird.
The main event of 04 is the same main event at Mania 20.
Yeah.
Triple threat.
if that wraps us up, I will close this out. Thank you for joining us. This was episode 63. Crazy. Again, Jeremy, so happy to have you back this week. We definitely missed you last week. Again, thank you for all the listeners. Thanks for giving us a great year on streaming and social media and all that stuff. Can't wait to talk to you all next week about pro wrestling. We appreciate you. Bye-bye, and have a great week.